First, I'm going to introduce Eugene Kim, who is the head of all things K-pop and K-content at Twitter. What a cool job. Eugene. And Eugene Lee, friend of VidCon, the CEO and founder of Collab Asia. I was blind, now I can see. You may believe. So thank you both for, I can't see you. Thank you both so much for flying down to Singapore. I mean, usually it's like, yeah, they flew here. But, you know, I genuinely respect the efforts you've gone to. I haven't been on a plane for 2 years. I'm jealous. But let's just start with you, Eugene, please, because you were at the last VidCon Asia in Singapore in 2019.
Yep.
But tell us a little bit about who is Collab Asia. You have a strategy called All Things K. What's that all about?
Yeah, so Collab Asia, we are a digital media company and creator network. We work with about 4,000 creators who are active across all the major platforms. We have offices and operations in 7 different countries across Asia. And I just happen to be living in Korea. And yeah, it's been quite remarkable just what we've seen in the last couple of years. Up until now, K content for us really meant our work with some of these K-pop channels. We work with Card, Dreamcatcher, DPR Live, Rain. We help them manage their YouTube channels and their fan bases across the world. But lately now, we're seeing some of these fan communities pop up, and we're seeing some influencers and creators that emerge from these fan communities. The other thing that we've seen is TikTok creators, actually. The ones in Korea, actually, when we look at their audience, a lot of them, their fans reside in Southeast Asia and India. So I think that's a sign of maybe some of these Korean TikTokers benefiting from this Korean trend.
Is TikTok, in Korea, is TikTok as big as it is everywhere else?
I would say maybe it's not as big as it is everywhere else. I know in the US, TikTok is huge, same with Southeast Asia. Korea, relatively, maybe not as much. But as I mentioned, yeah, our TikTok stars in Korea, they have huge followings in you know, all over the world.
Sure. Now, before Eugene, I ask any questions, if anyone in the audience has any questions for my 2 wonderful speakers, please get them ready. I will be asking for your questions a bit later. Anyone out in the internet world as well, the World Wide Web, they're here to answer your questions if you have them. Eugene, as I said, you've got probably one of the coolest titles in the entertainment business today. But I do ask this question to a lot of people. What do your family think you do for a living? What do you tell your friends you do for a living? And then let's talk about what you're doing with talent. But what do you do for Twitter?
Yeah, I'm Eugene Kim from Korea. I'm in charge of the global K-pop and K-content from entertainment to news and sports, everything. So I'm doing partnership mainly and working with the labels like Hive and SM, YG, JYP Entertainment and the CJ kind of broadcasters, the publishers a lot. So we are focusing on the globalization of the Korean contents like from K-pop music to drama, movie, and webtoon and beyond. So,
fantastic.
And yeah, people talk to me, yeah, you got a dream job, especially our global folks from outside of Korea. Yeah, I would like to take that job, something like that. Yeah.
I mean, okay, this is maybe an unfair question. You don't have to answer it, but are there other people around the world? Do you have people who are responsible for Indian pop, or people responsible for Australian pop, or people responsible for American pop?
Yeah, I'm working with the global folks because I'm very focusing on the K-pop artists, but they are global. So they are kind of a phenomenon in every region, not just Asia and Latin America and Europe and also the US. So I'm working with many of the countries' partnership people. Yeah, and the US people and the Brazil people, yeah, a lot. So they are all our team, collaborative works.
Cool. Now, how is Twitter partnering with Korean talent, K-pop artists, K-drama artists?
Yeah, actually, Twitter is what's happening in the world and what people are talking about right now. So our topic and interest group is not just focusing on the K-pop or Korean contents, but especially K-pop and Korean contents are a phenomenon and kind of driving the syndrome, take the world by storm, actually. So we are partnering with them, for example, BTS, Blackpink, NCT, or GOT7, those, or some emerging artists like ENHYPEN, or ITZY, aespa. So we are providing some specific features like Twitter's special emojis, or we are driving some live streaming event with under the name of the Twitter Blue Room live Q&A session, which is very original content for us. And also, when we are focusing on the product, we are supporting Twitter Spaces, which is an audio-based community feature recently released. So when we support artists, they would like to be better and more engagement. So we support those kind of things from the partnership perspective and the product perspectives, and also some engaging maximization perspectives.
And something that I know that you've been really behind and is this huge movement of fan groups. So tell us about the Twitter fan groups.
Yeah, Twitter fan groups are really, really unique because that is based on the K-pop fandom culture, which is originated from 30 years ago. Because K-pop started from the 30 years ago since the Seo and boys era, maybe you know. So from the Zero generation and also the first generation of K-pop idol group like H.O.T. and the second generation like TVXQ and SHINee and Big Bang or 21. And also third generation currently driving the syndrome like BTS, EXO and GOT7, Blackpink and Twice. So there are lots of fandoms, not just one specific fandom. So there are various fandoms, but the unique and the common characteristics here. So first of all, it's really aligning with our product because our product is a real-time conversation. So we provide the Twitter real-time trend. So it is covering over 100 countries. So people on Twitter who is a really like a kind of fan community, they are driving the trend hashtag. So very organized way. So for example, when they set up the time, okay, November 25th, 12 o'clock p.m. So let's trending, something like that. So they made some specific hashtag for them to support their favorite artist. For example, for birthday and celebration of some anniversary or award winning, like a day, 2 days before the BTS got an AMA awards. So those kind of moments a lot. So they support in a very smart way, very unique way, and a very aligned way of what's happening at this moment. And I would like to point out the other thing. In the K-pop industry and the K-pop fandom culture, there is a very specialized group who is named the Honma. Honma is a kind of an abbreviation of the homepage master. But homepage master, we don't say that word anymore because it is oriented from the 2000 in the very early stage of the internet era. So, but what they are doing is, like a professional camera here, we have already. So, like them, they are taking a picture and video directly from the artists. So, and then they distribute the qualified and the very, very high quality contents like a photo to the other fans, kind of to serve the conversation to the other fans. And also, they support their favorite artists in a very professional way. So they are Honma, but they are also super fans because they are dedicated supporter for their favorite artist. So it's interestingly, if you search Honma in the Naver, like a Korean the portal site, you have a lot of information about the Honma because if you enter the fandom community, Jasper, if you like Blackpink, for example, you should search the Honma. Who is the Honma for the Blackpink? hey, who is the Honma for the Blackpink Jennie, something like that. And then you should follow that handle on Twitter. And then you can keep up the information about what's happening about the Jennie of Blackpink. Because official content is from the company, kind of Hype and SM and YG, JYP. But Honma is providing kind of a behind the scenes or some other different special contents. Yeah, that's very interesting stuff.
So it's amazing to hear how you're supporting the big names. Now, how if we take this back to kind of the VidCon context of creators and the creator economy, Eugene, how can Korean influencers, or do you think there's an opportunity for Korean influencers to follow in the shoes of K-pop and K-drama?
Yeah, absolutely. One of the YouTubers that we work with, her name is Amgu Jeonghwa TV, and she has about 1.5 million subscribers on YouTube. She's like probably, I think, in her late 30s, and she's just a BTS superfan. So that's a perfect example of someone who went from being a fan to a full-blown global influencer. And she will buy BTS products in Korea and then make a video out of it and unbox it. And then she engages with her fans on Twitter and Instagram all over the world as they're asking questions about it. So that's one avenue. We see a lot of these type of trends where super fans are becoming creators themselves, right? You don't need to have even your face out there. Sometimes you just dub over it. The other thing I would say is even when you look at memes, honestly, I think for the longest time, some of these Korean creators and influencers, they were just so focused on the domestic market. But when you look at the language of the internet, when you look at what these global trends are, one easy way would be, given the popularity of Squid Game, is kind of participate in that global conversation. And one way of doing that, despite language barriers, would be, memes, right? So that's one thing that I personally enjoy, are following memes on, across all social media.
So you're saying super fans are becoming influencers?
Yep.
And how's that? Any examples there? I mean, you mentioned that one lady who's a BTS.
Yeah, I mean, for example, when Squid Game was all popular, in my social media feeds, I would see a lot of people who were talking about the symbolism of Squid Game and these, amateur film critics who are like breaking down the scenes. And some of those videos and some of those posts got millions and millions of views, right? So that is very interesting to see. I mean, me personally, I like to watch those type of things, whether it's film reviews or, things of that nature.
And Yun-jong, same question to you, but from a Twitter standpoint, how do you think Korean influencers, so KOLs or creators, would be able to follow in K-pop or K-drama stars' shoes?
Yeah, it's a very interesting question about the K-drama and K-movie and the K-webtoon. Those kind of contents beyond the K-pop music, kind of a storm now, like Squid Game or last year's Parasite. So the people are usually watching TV or Netflix or TikTok as a watching channel. So whether you are or people are watching some English Premier League or breaking news on TV, Squid Game on Netflix or funny video on TikTok, but people are talking about that on Twitter. So Twitter is a conversational platform, definitely. So also connection platform. So we could be kind of a conversation layer of the internet. So people can enjoy, and as Eugene mentioned, they make some memes and generate opinion, and also generate another subject related to that drama. For example, the capitalism or critics, something like that. So people are enjoying the content itself, but at the same time, they generate the conversation as well. So also they connect with the other people who enjoyed that content as well. So yeah, that's the main thing. Connection and conversation is happening on Twitter. Yeah.
If I could just add, actually, one thing I forgot to mention was podcasting. Podcasting obviously is huge in America, and I think in Asia we're just starting to see the popularity of podcasts really start to take off. And I think that's a perfect example of people becoming creators and influencers themselves, because with podcasts, that medium, it's so easy to create content, right? You and I could just grab a beer and I just record our conversation for an hour. Maybe need to censor ourselves a little bit, but
that's a terrible idea.
Yeah, but by maybe some compelling content, right? And so we're seeing that with a lot of different platforms. The audio content, because it is easier to create content now.
Sure. So if we have any questions out here, we're going to ask them in a second. Get your hand up. There's two very nice microphone people running around. Okay, so let's reverse the question. We talked about how Korean influence might be able to follow in the footsteps of the drama and K-pop people. What about now if I use the term international influencer, that just means someone who's outside of Korea. It doesn't mean any language. But if I were an international creator, how would I succeed going into Korea? Eugene?
I think it'd be pretty tough, actually. The only successful, overseas creators who have become successful in Korea, actually, they were successful because they spoke Korean. And that's always a novelty that I think Koreans love to see. If you ever watch some of these TV shows on air in Korea, there are a couple of TV shows where it's, Europeans and Americans who speak fluent Korean. And oftentimes, a lot of them have gone on to become celebrities themselves. And we've seen similar things in social media as well. Probably the best known case is Korean Englishman. He's from the UK, but he's lived in Korea for many years and is fluent in Korean. And he's been very active for many years.
I mean, it's not such a silly idea, right? I mean, you couldn't. I know that K-pop is mostly in Korean, and that's just been taken the world by storm. But to think that someone could walk into a country like Korea or China or Japan and suddenly start speaking to them in Spanish or English or, it's to connect, you have to be in their local language. Right, questions. We have Korea on stage at VidCon. Don't let me down. Stephen Dowler always has a question. I wouldn't name you in person. Stephen Dowler has a question. This is Stephen Dowler from Monster Cat. He's leading the number of questions this week.
If you're going to put me on the spot, Jasper. I'm wondering, so right now you're developing fan club culture in Twitter, right? Are there other functions? I know that you said I was trying to Google this. You said the Huma, you got to look at Blackpink's Huma or something like that. I can't figure out the spelling for that. So what's the spelling for Blackpink's Huma? Because I'm having a little bit of trouble finding it, but I do want to follow them. And are you also looking at potentially developing any other features for fan club culture, because it is so strong in Korea, such as other platforms that are really targeting K-pop culture? I'm wondering, is there a focus on developing the functionality there, or what's in the future? What does the future hold?
Thank you for the question. I love the question because we are really focusing on the specific product, which is named Twitter Spaces. Yeah, many people in here, the business partner, talked about the audio-based community function. So we have a Twitter Spaces. So it enables people to talk with a more human manner, more emotional manner, rather than some video stuff. So as Eugene also mentioned, the audio is something special in the future. So we are enabling creators here to monetize their content on the spaces, because we have ticketed spaces, which is based on the setting the price and the setting the audience size. So also we provide the super follower and the tipping, which is enabling the creators to monetize the content as well. And also we are developing and also release the Sparker program, so which is supporting kind of a reward program for creators. financially and technically and marketing perspectives. So Twitter Spaces is something, I think that's kind of a next product for us, Twitter, and for Twitter creators and also K-pop industry and everybody who is dealing the contents.
And the most important question was, how do you spell Huma?
Oh, he asked the first question. Homa is actually the abbreviation of homepage master.
Homepage master.
But actually, it is used in the K-pop digital world only. So if you are K-pop fans, you know. But we spell that in Korean, Homa. But in English, I don't know. It is searched in the general Wikipedia. I don't know, but the HOM-MA maybe. But you cannot find it because we should search the Homa in Korean. Yeah, but I think the people from international side also know what is the Homa means. So they name them master instead of the Homa. So is it right answer for that?
Any more questions? Any more questions? Any more questions? We need to wake up. We need to wake up. Okay, so let's look forward. Eugene, starting with you. What's exciting for Collab Asia right now? It doesn't have to be in the context of this. What's really exciting for you? What's exciting for Collab Asia right now?
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, what Collab Asia strives to do is help our creators make a living, right? And so we're really excited about new revenue streams. And what we always say actually is, we've done our job if we help our clients, quit their day job, or in some cases drop out of college, to pursue their passion full time, which is becoming a creator, then we've done a great job, right? So we're always on the lookout for new revenue streams and new platforms. And so obviously in the last 6 months or so, there's been a lot of chatter around NFTs and blockchain and that type of technology. I'm excited just because I still can't understand everything that's going on in this space. But when I do read about people who are, tokenizing their assets and then, creating new revenue streams, that for me is exciting, because if we can help our creators basically create a new revenue stream for them, then again, it can maybe help them pursue their passions full time.
And creating new revenue streams for event organizers?
Yeah, and for companies like us, and yeah, win-win-win, right?
Fantastic. And Yin Jong, same question to you. What's exciting for you? What's exciting for Twitter? What's coming over the horizon?
Yeah, actually, 2 days before at the All That Matters conference, I announced about the Beyond K-pop concept, because K-pop is not anymore about the Korean idol music, but at the same time, it is kind of the Korea-led or Korea-oriented pop culture genre. So we would like to define the K-pop again from now on for the future. So what we are focusing on and what we will develop more next is drama series and movies. So from my perspective, the partnership team will support more drama, more movies to be globalized, because it's the right time to be globalized with the support by the social media platform like Twitter and OTT platforms. So that's one thing. And the other thing, as I mentioned, the product perspective, we are very focusing on the Twitter Spaces, because it's kind of an extended product. And we will add some specialized feature again and again, because it's not end product, it's just an ongoing product for us to apply the feedback from the consumers and the users. So at the end, I would like to mention about here VidCon, because we are creators. In the audiences, many people are creators themselves, at the same time the business partner for us as well. So we will focus on the creators for the near future and now. So please come and join the conversation or initiate the conversation on Twitter, because your potential fan groups, your super fans or your existing fans are waiting for you to join and drive the conversation with them. So please join. Yeah. that's my end comment could be, yeah.
Fantastic. Well, listen, I mean, it's been absolutely fascinating. This whole concept of not just the K content ecosystem, but the ecosystems within ecosystems within ecosystems that of the super fans becoming influencers themselves, and what have you. So thank you so much to Eugene. Thank you so much to Eugene. Obviously, K content is going to get bigger and bigger. And if you want to succeed in Korean, you need to speak the language. But thank you so much to both of you for joining us and for flying down from Korea especially.
Thank you.
Thank you.